I went to school, and I got my BA and my MA. I got my bachelor's in biblical studies and my master's in Christian education. The plan, because you have a plan, the plan was, okay, I'm going to go to school, then when I graduate, I'm going to go and teach like at a private school, like Christian or something, and I'll teach the Bible, and then I'll get paid for it, and then I can come out of poverty, and I can take care of my kids. Like, that was the plan. Like, I'm going to make money, it's going to be all good, I'm going to have my boys, and we're going to like live great, because I'm a single mama. It did not go according to that plan. So, what ended up happening was I went to school, and then for years, as doors slammed in my face, and no one would give me an opportunity to teach anything inside of a school. And then I told the Lord, I said, how do you let me go to school for like a bazillion years? The stress and the headache, single parenting, schooling, like it's a big deal. You let me go to school all this time, I done borrowed all this money, I'm in debt, and then like, you won't let me do anything with it. I said, this is complete vanity. This was a waste of my time. I could have just gotten a job at like banking or something where you don't need a degree and people make $40,000, $50,000 a year. I did not need to go to school to be broke. That was my ideal. I didn't even go to college. But what God pointed out to me was that I wanted you to get the degree, so the doors open for that. And He maintained my sanity. And I made excellent grades. I made terrible grades in high school, but I made excellent grades in college. I was always making A's and B's all the way through. And He opened those doors and He said, but I wanted you to have the degrees, but not because of the reason that you wanted to have the degrees. Because He said, I don't want you teaching in private schools and all that kind of stuff, because I don't want you to be put inside anybody's box. I have a different plan for you. So that's where the whole thing comes in, where I made a plan. Some of it came to pass because I did finish school, but the other half didn't. And it seems like it's vanity, like this is useless, but God's like, no, I'm going to use it in a different way at a different time. Because that was like, the last time I went to school was back in 2012 or whatever. So it's been many years. So here's what happened. I have this vision. I said, I'm going to get me a camera, and I'm going to start me an online ministry. It's going to be called His Word, His World. So His Word, because I was like, His Word came first. His World. And then what I'll do is I will teach Bible. Because sometimes if you don't have an opportunity open for you, sometimes you just create your own. And I said, I'll create my own teaching opportunity because nobody will give me one. I'll get a camera and I'll get on there and I will film. So me and my son were out in the park filming at 7 o'clock in the morning, making these videos that, by the way, had horrible footage because the camera was terrible. And His Word, His World went absolutely nowhere. It plummeted and it fell because absolutely nobody saw my videos. I think maybe 2 or 3 people watched it, and it like went nowhere. I had a website and everything. So then I moved from Georgia to here, and I tried to keep this going, and then finally I quit. I said, I'm not forking out this money for a website that nobody's using. This is a waste of time. I did that for a couple of years, and then finally, after you sit under Jeremy and Dylan, and even after talking with a friend, it was like, I said, well, Lord, maybe we can bring His Word, His World back. I'll get a better camera so people can actually see me on it, and we can do this. And He said, yes, but now I'm making some changes. His Word, His World, that was your Georgia thing. We're not doing this in this season. I got something new. We're going to do it differently. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So thus is born Potter and Clay. So it's Potter and Clay. And the idea is Potter and Clay, Christian education. So that was like the big goal, the big vision. So Potter and Clay, Christian education. I didn't want to do ministry. Everybody's got ministry on their name. We're going to do this because this is all about educating people about Christian fundamentals, was about the Bible. So then we take this and we branch it off into different sections. So we have Potter and Clay, Christian Academy, as I call it, PAC. Preschool, that the Lord gave me a vision and I got everything prepped for it, thinking that this is going to happen now, but He's like, no, put it on hold. We'll get back to it later. And I'm like, I just did all this work for you to put it on hold, but that's what He does. So Potter and Clay, this is the pre-K that I will eventually have before the rapture or before I die, one day. Then Also from this, we have the traveling ministry. I have been asking about this for years. I said, I really want me a traveling ministry. You'll have a teaching team, you've got a praise band, you've got your drama team, like all of it's there, and we would travel and just like take the gospel in my creative way of expressing and doing things. Traveling ministry. So that is also under this umbrella. But these are on hold. Like God is like, hold up. We'll get to those later. So right now, the priority is the potter and clay women. As soon as I want to ask potter and clay women. That's where we are now. So when I had this vision, I was like, okay, potter and clay women is a Bible study. But we want to do it a little bit different than your other small groups where we just get a curriculum or you get a book and then we sit down and we discuss it and there's really no leader or anything. We're all just there having a discussion. No, this is a teaching opportunity. It's teaching. And so anytime that you've got this vision, it's like, okay, so why do I want to do this? We never want to do anything with the intention of something that's going to build my ego or something where I'm just trying to get money or I'm just trying to get representation, because that is not the heart of God. This is not about Aerika. This is about God. And so the vision is we're going to, number one, I want these women to learn to give everything over to God. We're going to be his representatives. We are representing him in every area of life. Representing God in every area of life. That means that I'm not just representing him when I go to church. I'm not just representing him when I talk to friends. I am representing in who he is, his character and his nature in every area of my life. From the way I dress, to how I talk, to how I handle conflict, all the way down to how I eat, everything. And that reflection, I am that light that is shining in the darkness. That is who these women are going to be. We want to raise them up so they can be that light as our world gets darker and darker. They're going to be that light, that city on a hill, because they're representing God in every area of their life. And then they're reflecting it in their homes, in their communities, in their jobs. And it's kind of reminding me like this. You know how like you got a candle? And that little light, and if somebody comes over, they can just tip their candle over to that light, and then they have a light. And then next thing you know, you can have all these little candles and they're just burning everywhere. That's what I want them to be. I want you to be that candle. If you got a husband that's not saved, maybe he'll see that light in that dark place and just kind of come over and tip his candle to you. Do you see what I'm saying? Maybe they will get to know Christ because of you. You represented him in every area of your life. That was my main agenda. The second thing was we want to build a community, because that is where I feel like church is lacking. We don't have a community. So what happens is everything is centered around the family, where families come to church. Families do this, but everything is God-centered. And that means that I'm building my relationships with God as my center. And community is not that I have come to church and I've talked to you at church, and when I see you at church, we're friends at church, we're friends on Facebook or Instagram, but I never talk to you. No, community is that we are living life together. And that is what I am trying. It's going to take for, because we're not used to community. Community to us is just living in a neighborhood and your neighbors. But no, community. So that means that if Barbara says, I'm going to go get groceries, she can call Linda and say, hey girl, I'm fixing to go get groceries. You want to come ride with me? Yeah, sure. Why not? Living life together, not living separately. I involve you in different things. You involve me into your different things. And we have this little community. So that means that if I'm stressing and I'm going through, I can talk to anybody in this group and get a word from them and encouragement and strength and empower. I can get that from anybody. It shouldn't be that there's only one person I can talk to. No, we are community. We are family, brothers and sisters in Christ. Don't you see like families where the brothers and sisters are so tight? And if you deal with one, you got to deal with all of them. That's how it should be. We got to have community amongst each other. The other thing was, I want them to be knowledgeable. You got to have that knowledge and to build wisdom concerning things of the Bible. And that's one of the biggest things, because we automatically assume that everybody knows the basic fundamentals of Christianity and the faith. And it's not true. People have sat in church in different places for years and don't even understand different principles, like they're completely oblivious to it. And so I don't want them to be that way. So that means that if somebody comes to them, whether it's atheist or whatever, I can handle myself. You can't tell me that God helps those who help themselves. That's not in the Bible. You can't tell me that hell has no fury than a woman scorned, and that's in the Bible. It's not in there. And I know because I've read it, I've studied it, I have knowledge and wisdom of the Bible. And also, learning on your own. Learning for yourself. I think Eve really speaks to me profoundly, because she heard about the rule more than likely from Adam. But sometimes it's better for you to just get it yourself. Because if I get secondhand information, I don't know. It can be great or it can be a little tainted. But what if you're teaching me something, and then I'm like, yeah, and then we run off with it, and then 10 years later you find out that wasn't even right. I would not have that problem had I went, got a Bible, opened it, and I'm teaching them how to exegete the text. Learn how to study for yourself. Read it for yourself. Learn how to use a commentary. Learn how to use a work. Learn how to do that for yourself. You cannot be tricked, bamboozled into anything unless you let somebody trick you. Nobody can trick me. You can't tell me about what's in the Bible, because I know I read it. And if I'm questioning it, I guarantee you I will go home and look it up. Because you are responsible for Genesis to Revelation and nothing else. So if you are fooled, it's your own fault. Because you have that book, go and read it for yourself. Very important. And so my main agenda with these ladies is I want to encourage them, strengthen them, and empower them. And that is what our tagline is. To encourage them, strengthen, and empower. That's the whole point of this ministry right here. Every aspect, whether it's the children, traveling, or the women, to encourage people in the faith. To strengthen you in the faith. So that means when something comes up against you, I'm not crawling up in a corner like some cowardly child. No, I've got that biblical faith. And to be empowered. There's no point of having strength if I don't do anything with it. Do you see what I'm saying? Empowered to do what God has called us to do. I know that God is a planner. He plans everything. He's got a plan for the plan and a backup plan to how you would try to jack up the plan. There is always a plan. You serve a planning God. And so when I thought about it, I said, it's not that God was sitting there and looked in the future and said, her name is Aerika. Let me see what I can do. No. It is God planned it, and he said, I am going to create this little woman. Her name is Aerika. It's going to take this egg and this sperm to create her. These are the gifts that I am going to give her. This is what I am going to do. And I'm expecting that is what you were planned. Whether you were planned by mama and daddy don't matter. You were planned by God, sent here for a purpose. He designed you specifically. And I say, well, my teeth are messed up and you messed up my mouth. I don't care. I planned it that way. I knew that was going to happen, and I planned it that way. I'm sure, good. That is going to that's going to be good. It's going to come out for the good. So, those things that we see as flaws, God says, yes, but I'm going to use that. Those things that we seem unnecessary, God's like, nope, I'm going to use that. And I'm going to give the glory out of every area of your life if you just let him. God has a plan and a purpose, and I'm seeing that my education did not go in vain. My millions of years of doing prison ministry, and I was like, you're not even letting me do anything with it. It's not in vain. The millions of years I spent in children's ministry, not in vain. Being fired for no reason at all, not in vain. Going and sitting under ministries and under people who don't teach right, who don't know how to treat people, watching ministries crumble and fail is not in vain. Because for years he showed me how to not do it. He showed me, don't do it this way. Do it my way. Open up the Word of God. And when you decide that you're going to do that leadership, when you decide you're going to do that ministry, you go to him. Because it's not yours, it's his ministry. So he is the one who dictates about what you're going to talk about and how you're going to do it. So my prayers, when I sit down for that, I said we're going to do Genesis, and what I say is, Lord, what is it that you want me to tell your people? Because it's God using you as a tool to do His will and His way, and to get His work done, and to accomplish what it is He has to accomplish. Any questions? Awesome. Good.
Leave it up there. Leave it up there.
Yes. Okay.
Can you rewrite that?
Yes. Both stuff. Okay. Any questions?
Can you ask my wife to come to your class?
Huh?
Can you ask my wife to come to your
Yeah. I'll give you a bro. Oh, okay. So I was showing Shelly. I'm very serious about these things, and I feel like if you're going to do something, you do it with excellence, because that's what Daniel did. He had an excellent spirit. Now learn. Do all things in excellence. So I will give this to you. You can give that to her. I made up brochures.
Is there a spiritual gift of preaching? There is, right?
Yeah, teaching.
Teaching, they kind of go hand in hand.
Preaching.
Is that what I did? Did I just preach?
You preached, girl. You just gave me a sermon.
sermon.
Woo! You gave me a sermon. You did. I was taking
Writing notes.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you though, I understand, and that's why I call you, that leadership has its good points and it has like certain points where you're just like, I don't know how much of this I can hold up. I get an understanding about Moses and what he's going through. But let me tell you, when you were talking about holding things loosely, I had a pastor that taught me that, and I understand it so quickly. She said, hold all things and hold all people loosely. Because the only thing that you hold tightly is God. One thing I've learned, people are flaky. They love you today and hate you tomorrow. They're here today, they're gone tomorrow. People leave, people die, people are not permanent in your life. But God is eternal. And thus is why ministry and everything is surrounded by Him. If I surround it around me, what happens when I'm not here? If I name the ministry after me, it's called the Aerika Lewis Ministry, and Aerika Lewis is not here. What happens? The ministry dies. No. Potter and clay is after God. So if I leave this world, I can pass it on to somebody who can carry it on. I can find me a Joshua to carry it on, because it's not centered around me. It's centered around Him. And in leadership, people are going to disappoint you, and they're going to be hurt, and there are going to be times when you're going to want to quit. But at the end, you're encouraged, you're strengthened, and you're empowered to keep moving forward.